Tiffany Statue, your 1111 coach, aka Mystique in the house. I'm here with my girl, Professor Agog in the house. And we are live in DC. Let me pull it closer, Kira. We are live in DC at the BCG headquarters in DC. Yay! How y'all doing today? How y'all doing tonight?
So I'm doing exceptionally well. In fact, I'm going to answer on the audience's behalf. In fact,
yeah, this is my first time going live on the channel, y'all. So usually I do upload videos. I upload some videos about EFT. I upload videos about the law of attraction. That's my biggest thing. I love synchronicity, and I'm a mystic fairy, y'all. I'm a mystic fairy, and this is Professor Agog, and today she's going to teach me how to create a money altar.
Or an energy vortex in your home, but we are going to primarily focus on an altar because I understand that the majority of cultures and geographically there's an altar in essentially every location in the world. There's different types, and it just seems though they have all one uniform idea, which is kind of harnessing that energy and concentrating in a certain place. So definitely, I would love to cover that with you guys. I would love to share this with you, Mystique.
I'm looking forward to this. Did you bring your phone with the picture? Is that your phone right there?
That's my phone.
All right, because you got to show the picture.
Oh, right.
You got to show the picture. Yeah, she showed me a beautiful picture of how her altar looks, of how her money altar looks.
I will be, flagrant in my honesty. I may have hidden some of the science. You have to stay tuned to receive more, okay? I'll cover it. And just some of these things are, you have. What I'm giving you and what I'm about to disseminate to you is still nuclear, but what I have is like Armageddon. I'm sure that's right. I've had 2 cups of coffee already. I'm very energized. Okay, let's go ahead and make sure that we have the right. It starts with you. Okay.
Here we go.
So I'm sure you can recognize.
So you got Ganesh, right?
And I imagine you know I'm very well associated with dragoons. So right there's in the background is a dragon.
Right here, that's a dragon.
From where your vantage point, can you see the Himalayan salt lamps?
Right here.
Yeah, well spotted. Now look a little bit closely. Look at the very bottom of the, well, not particularly, like maybe in the lower segment of the location. You will notice that there are pyramids. What's the significance of pyramids to you?
Wisdom, high points. I see elevation.
Yes,
elevation.
Yes. Well, it's also a concentration of energy too.
Oh, okay.
See, it all comes to the cusp. Yes, and you'll notice that I'm a major aficionado of Nikola Tesla. You will notice that if you look at some of the photos on Google Images, especially concentric around the concept of pyramids, you will notice that there's it's like they kind of follow on the whole concept of the Tesla coil. You can see the energy just beaming out of it, radiating from the pinnacle of the pyramid. So that's a big component of why that's there. But if you look actually very closely at, maybe you could see it there. If you look very closely at the pyramids, you will notice that there are the chakras. I don't necessarily focus on chakras too much. I kind of navigate more towards the sacred geometry aspect of it. I'm big on shapes. I'm big on somatics. In fact, you know what the universe is comprised of, right?
Gas. Gas and dirt and water.
Well, okay, those are the elements. Okay,
gas, dirt, and water.
And then plasma. What is plasma? For 400. Okay. Well, actually, you know where the universe came from. The Higgs boson. The Great Big Bang and all that. Well, what preceded all this was somatics, which is sound, the intention, and then that explosion. So sound, and of course sacred geometry. So even like down to our bodies are even sacred geometry, like proteins, amino acids.
And then they talk about our limbs.
Everything is connected to that based on that premise. So what else? Oh, and then there's my Sri Yantra. What I do, I'm just gonna go ahead and give you some important information. This is where I do a lot of my meditation. You can also have this set up as your ancestral altar. You'll notice I have bananas there.
But but talk about, all right. So talk about some of the things that they should have on a money altar, like what, like.
Oh,
what
and
is
another thing, you'll notice that I have an obelisk, and those are also very significant. They're basically just an elongated pyramid. They do concentrate energy just as much. So tell me, when you notice a major skyline or downtown in DC, what do you see? The monuments. And have you noticed that they all have a very precise shape?
They look like a penis.
Yeah, sure.
They do.
I go right with that. Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Well, one looks like a penis.
They do. They're like fossils, right? Like from
phallus.
A phallus. Because
So
this is what I was taught. Okay, I was taught that because we are in what is it? The
patriarchy? Patriarch.
Patriotic
patriarchal society.
Right? Yeah, society. That mostly all of our buildings are based off of the male penis, the top of it, right? Like that's why. Am I wrong?
Well, you're not wrong. No. A lot of people make that kind of connotation.
That's what I was taught.
I wasn't going for that.
Okay. I got off subject, y'all.
Mm-hmm. And then we got the dome effect too, like in case it's circumcised. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay, well, because you know
some
what?
are circumcised, some are not.
Because the truth is that a lot of the times, like a lot of sex was embedded in the history.
Oh yeah, it's a big thing. There's a big thing about sex magic. It was being the cauldron. Yeah, there's a lot of significance. You're spot on.
Okay.
You're spot
all right,
on.
but that's not where she was going, y'all. So I apologize. All right.
That's all you need to know, guys.
She said Venus.
Okay, so the reason why I'm bringing this up about cities is those are intentionally implemented. They are money grids, basically. That's why you'll notice that currency seems to flow throughout cities, especially downtown areas. And you'll notice that there's always some significant attempt at cleanup. There's always an effort to keep these spaces relatively clean. Not like, obviously the more impoverished neighborhoods, like, not downtown, but like the inner city, Philadelphia. There's a big difference between those areas. Not to say that these are the antipode of energy vortexes. In fact, it's more like a neutral energy. But obviously these places are very much bombarded with sirens. So let me get a little deviating from the point. So let's go with what the intention is behind these cities. They do have a lot of what's called skylines. So basically the money grid, you'll notice that there are bridges that might have the obelisk shape in them. There's going to be a lot of archways. This is all intentionally put there to concentrate what is called the currency. So see what I'm saying? These are all vortexes, basically. They are basically conduits. So
how are they useful for the money altar? How is that? I'm just like, how?
So basically what I'm just devising here is with the money altar, you notice I intentionally put a lot of geometric shapes on my altar.
Okay, so you're almost like mimicking what they're doing. I got it.
On a smaller scale, and putting it in your home. Right.
I got it now.
Now we got it. Woohoo! Yeah, see? Woohoo. And then what else did I put there? Remember Ganesh? Ganesh means many things in different cultures.
Prosperity, right?
Right. Well, also he's the primary. He's a force that removes a lot of obstacles too. Okay. So there's a great significance to him. Lakshmi's definitely abundance. So she's conducive to abundance. But another thing about my altar is, I would say it's pristine. I keep it clean.
It's very nice.
Thank you so much. I removed a lot from it. But also a big thing that I didn't have time to put on the altar at the time was the orgonite, which is where you make your own. It's a big thing to actually try and draw your own items. Draw triangles. Just basically, you can look online and find sacred geometrical structures very easily. I know you guys get access to Google. I know you are capable of this. I'm counting on you. But anyways, yes, the whole what I basically do sometimes at my own money altar is I will just simply draw out shapes, and that's a form of meditation, just like walking meditations. It's also it's got so many different effects to it, but so I hope we're not deviating too far from the point. But what I basically wanted to capitalize on is in quick summary. So the premise behind it is location. In every culture, where is the money altar located? Okay,
so you said southwest, right? The
southeast.
Southeast of the room, or or it's the corner that is to the far corner, the far left corner of the room from the entry point, the door that's used the most.
Mm-hmm. That I wasn't even going to bring up, but that's actually
all right. Okay. That's if you can't decipher which southwest is in your room, then you can definitely just the door that you use mostly for that room, the corner that is the far left, that's going to be your prosperity corner.
Right. And why do you feel that a lot of individuals in the inner cities will benefit from this?
Because you'll be creating a vortex within a vortex, right? So now this town, this city, it has its own vortex, but you're creating another vortex.
Actually, it's more like dead energy. There's
dead
energy. There's no energy. There's no shapes. You'll notice that it's kind of all flat. Everything's kind of one-dimensional in the inner cities. The intention behind that is simply just neutral, dead. So what it's bombarded with is generally what the ultimate frequency is. Mm-hmm. So that's why a lot of individuals, if you're not around like the inner city area, you're not around a lot of these buildings that kind of mimic or pantomime the actual shapes that we intend to help amplify the currency effect. You want to be able to create it or infuse it in your home, because not only will you put yourself on the money grid, it also has a kind of a effect where all the tertiary homes or all the ones adjacent to it will also be affected. So you actually will bring that. You're not just helping yourself out, because that's one thing I've noticed is generally when we first started our spiritual journey, our environment was one of our biggest inhibitions
or conditions. That was probably the hardest condition to deal with, or
right. So I'm gonna go.
All right. So now let me touch a little bit more on what she said about you doing that type of energy work within let's say a dead energy area, right? Okay. So there's a rule, right? So now she carries a certain she vibrates at a certain level. Right? I'm vibrating at a certain level. Everyone is vibrating at a certain level. Now, if she's vibrating really, really high, if she gets her energy up really, really high, she helps me and everybody else that is around her. So that's why you're doing energy work in your home will actually help everyone that's around you, because you'll be raising your vibration, and then you do have to share that energy with other people, but that's okay. It's all right. You're going to be helping everyone. You raise everyone. Every time that you heal, every time that you get better, you better everyone around you.
Well, and that also correlates to just simply when we elevate our own selves and consciousness in general, you'll start to notice the ramifications of it. It kind of bleeds out. It's not always going to be done in a vacuum. People will start to experience it kind of vicariously through you. So that's why it's so critical to be able to create this.
And that's true, because I used to do a lot of energy work when I was by myself. I had a studio, and I used to do a lot of energy work, and I used to just walk by blessing people. I used to be like, bless. Be blessed.
Be blessed.
Yeah, I used to be like, bless, bless, bless. And then I would see them maybe a week or two later, especially bums and stuff, and they would see me, they'd be like, and they'd be clean.
Be clean.
Straight clean, haircut. Yeah, they look at me, you know what I'm saying, energetically, they're looking at me like, thank you.
Definitely. No.
So I'm telling you, this stuff works. It works when you work it.
Also, remember when I advised you, if you wanted to be incognito about it, very subtle. There's the concept of the invisible ink.
Yes.
Maintaining.
Putting sigils on your body, actually, which is kind of cool.
In invisible ink, or if
in invisible ink.
Yeah. But these are all.
She's a witchy girl over here. She's gonna teach me a lot of stuff, y'all.
And you, obviously.
And you too.
Okay, so I understand that there's probably a sequence you want to be able to follow, and I took the liberty, took it upon myself to kind of document everything so that we have a little bit of a lesson plan, so to speak. So like I may have mentioned, cleanliness is godliness. I didn't mention that at all, but I'm bringing it up now. But I did kind of allude to the fact that inner cities, or not inner cities, what is my, infatuation with inner cities? I was just bringing it up as an example. But with downtown areas where you see that there's a skyline, you will notice that they're generally pristine. There's not a lot of refuse, rubbish, or, just general, a lack of sanitation. there is definitely a concerted effort to keep these spaces clean for other individuals, like the parks. You know, generally, you'll notice that there's plenty of people that are employed to keep those spaces clean. So obviously, if you want to kind of replicate this on a smaller scale, you'll have to put like, you know, concerted effort into cleaning your own humble abode, large abode. Make sure that's clean. So that's the biggest thing. So this is around springtime. You want to go ahead and clean out everything. You need to clean your house from top to bottom. Like I said, basically money is like a currency. It needs to flow. So you don't want to congest your home with clutter. You'll notice that basically is the whole concept of it. Money is just basically, in fact, a lot of like what I noticed when I studied a lot of these sciences, they all kind of follow the precepts of nautical science, maritime science. You'll notice that like whether it's the Masons, energy concepts, like they all kind of follow the same concepts. So yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you have an open space. There's whether you gotta donate, whether you have to, you know, get cobwebs out, just anything that doesn't give you any connotation of cleanliness or carries an old energy that, you know, just has something like a negative, like a lot of things, like especially things that would have been in the environments that, like especially like if you have a lot of trauma associated with an object, like, you know, things that you were wearing at the time, it's like something that may have transpired in your life, or like, you know, a lot of like individuals I know.
All right, so you know what, I'm gonna interrupt her because I'm gonna say, now one thing that we do know, right, even if you're not a spiritual person, now I'm not from the streets, right? I got a little bit of hood in me. So one thing what I really do know is that there's probably going to be some people coming to my channel that probably don't know anything about spirituality, right? One thing that you can relate to what she's saying, right? What she's saying, right, about getting rid of articles that might have traumatic memories for you that attach to them. One thing that you could look at it, right? So you ever heard about a guy going to jail, right? He goes to jail, right? When he comes home, burn those clothes, right? They say get rid of those clothes. Why? Because when he was in jail, he picked up a lot of negative energy. A lot. So sometimes, like, even like when you receive things from people, it's so important to pray over them, bless them, because you do not know what people, sometimes people do things to stuff. Sometimes they do.
Why is an outline of penis on my phone?
I'm just, you know, sometimes people do things and stuff. So you definitely want to bless them. If you could put them on your altar while you're praying, that will actually clear off any type of vibration.
Oh, and how another thing is, I never initially wrote it down, but cleansing spaces. Understand that negativity has its own intelligence. Even if you were to cleanse a space with sage to smudge the area, it might retreat into the corners. So additional science I'm going to apply here is you want to go ahead and use 3 critical components actually. You can smudge with sage first. That's great for iron, like it kind of ionizes the atmosphere, is deionized. Kind of like a salt lamp as well. That's why you notice I have that one on my altar. I always follow up with Palo Santo. Do you have that?
No, I would like for you to bring that in.
Okay, very good. It's just it's basically like a wooden stick or filament, and you follow up with that. There's another thing I do is I also rely heavily on frankincense and myrrh. I prefer the actual resin. They actually do come in a rock format.
You should bring some of that here so you can sell it to us.
Sell it to you?
Yeah, bring it here so we can buy it from you. Because you know what? Because like, all right, so because I don't have any. I don't have any resin. Like I don't have any, and I honestly, like, I really don't know too many places where you can actually get
Amazon's
that.
a great location for it, honestly. Because I even went to like the spiritual shops with the Botanica. I never really noticed them myself. They might have them in like the little cone format or the incense sticks, but truth be told, a lot of the incense sticks might be just a, you know, shadow of what it is, honestly. Like, you know, basically an empty husk of it. Just like has the imitation format. So that's something that we want to kind of deviate from. So when you try to procure these items, always get the authentic format. So
you get the best outcome.
Exactly, because it is critical. The quality of what you use also dictates the outcome too. You basically, the end is the mean. Always remember that when you do anything with the concept of improvement. There are no real shortcuts. Yes, there's ways to elevate yourself. If you can internalize this quickly and integrate everything, great. But understand that you have to be willing to take the proper steps and, you know, implement the proper procedure. Yeah, sure. Now, the second step. So I think that was enough for that. I didn't bring this up, but I did have like a little incense, or not incense, it's basically like an essential oil diffuser. And what I do is I put, I always try to go for the medical grade, frankincense, myrrh, they also come in essential oil format. I also use there's something called Seven Potencias, which is it has Oshun. It actually comes in a little bit, a bottle, very much like the Florida water.
Okay, and that's another good item to cleanse your area.
No, I understand this is very long, protracted, but I'm trying to be as thorough as possible for your sake, okay?
And if you have any questions, make sure you place your questions in the comment section, and then I will make sure that she answers those questions.
Sure, appreciate it. Okay, in conjunction with that, this is something that Kaisi's going to appreciate because I'm bringing up what she did. You want to put a lot of your components that are used for manifestation, like your vision board, your dream book. You want to be able to put that on your altar so that it kind of gets saturated with that energy. All right, I think you all know what the whole concept of that is. I don't need to go into
dream book and all of that.
But
maybe we will do a video another time. But there's enough videos up on Valerie Love's channel about vision boards.
Exactly. In conjunction with that, you want to, if you noticed, you saw in the background, Ganesh was heavily featured. Now, you want to work with any deity that you're most comfortable with, but has some kind of critical component that's an attribute associated with either wealth, prosperity, or like helps break down obstacles. Essentially, that's who I best resonate with was Ganesh. There's other individuals. I do like the feminine, the masculine, because obviously Ganesh helps dismantle all the barriers, and then Lakshmi comes through with her feminine self, bringing the context to what you're trying to harness and manifest in your reality. So like I said, and she is also a critical component for the reason why I even brought up maintaining the cleanliness. She will not come to your sordid hovel if you're not going to be willing to clean it up. Okay, she likes things to be pristine. She likes a certain quality or presentation. Okay,
but when she shows up, because it makes me wonder, like I want to do my DNA, because Lakshmi always shows up for me. Like I find coins all the time.
Oh, is that what she's associated with?
She leaves coins. I walk down the street, I find coin after coin, and that's just and that's how I know. I'm like, oh, Lakshmi.
Well, the wonderful concept behind that is if you can manifest a penny, you can probably manifest $1 million.
Remember, I almost manifested $500,000 in crypto. So we gonna get there, y'all.
Definitely. And also, obviously, Lakshmi is associated with her own mantra. This is the fourth step right here. Lakshmi, there's a Ganesh mantra. Ganesh's mantra is Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And they reiterate that. This is where you want to perform all of your mantras. So you can also write out a mantra and then keep it, it associated with the respective deity underneath it, help like amplify the results. But this is where I promise you, if you wanted your money to kind of amplify, or the volume to increase, you definitely want to do your money mantras in this specific vortex that you're creating. So pull up a chair. Concentrate on what it is you want to bring into your reality, but definitely having a specific, like a designated spot is where it's all going to come in, the context of it's going to be, and it helps it to kind of compound on itself over time. So this is where you want to do all of your mantras. So we got that all cleared out, everything associated with the deities. Now this is why I also brought up this is where you want to start adding the sacred geometry. So you would have noticed I mentioned the pyramids, the obelisks. There's other items like there is a 3D version of the Sri Yantra, but I just had a printout of it for the time being. But you can get a 3D version of it. They are available on Amazon for maybe $11.99. I'm just an arbitrary number, really. Obviously, that's not the only thing. The tetrahedron stars, they all have a significant component to them. But the six-pointed star and the pinnacle or the pentacle, they are a little bit different. Also be very aware that sacred geometry has a life of its own. It is just like an organism. So I don't know if I had it on the altar, but you might have noticed I had maybe rice flour in the background. You want to be able to feed these yantras.
All right, so you said rice. What about oats? Because I was
Oh,
talking
rice flour.
rice
oats,
flour.
yes. You know, just
and
don't
oats.
do don't do. Well, there's that, and then there's cornmeal. Never do bleached flour.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right, it's the same concept, you know. You want these things to be that kind of have an organic element to them, but always
At
be
its
aware
purest state.
everything has its own intelligence. Like, just like negative energy, I don't think I really elucidated on that, but negative energy has its own intelligence. That's why smudging isn't going to be just enough. You want to be able to also bring in the positive energy to kind of to help obliterate that negative element. That's why I brought up, because Palo Santo is kind of, it's kind of a medium between the two. Obviously saging helps obliterate the negative energy, but you then want to start infusing it with like your sandalwood.
Oh, I see what she's saying. She's saying so after you empty out the vacuum, you need to fill it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
after you clear it out, you need to hurry up and fill it.
Mm-hmm.
Hurry up.
Okay, and then the reason why I bring up bringing all these sacred geometry elements.
You know what? Let's speak to that. Does it have to be? If you're gonna fill up the space, can't they fill it up with music? Positive music.
That's your mantras. Yeah, your music, your mantras.
Right. Okay. I
But
just wanted to
music
ask
alone.
just for myself.
Yeah, obviously you can pray on the element, but I do feel that bringing physical, like something physical, helps show. Just like the whole concept of a dream book helps bring physical context to it.
Okay.
And sage has its own, like, you know, it brings introduces ions, you know, and that type of thing, or negative ions, and it helps like cleanse the air. You want to physically be able to clean the air as well, because like I said, still energy also is an energy of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Or inert energy. So the next part is bringing the sacred and introducing the sacred geometry. So I already mentioned pyramids extensively. There's definitely things like sacred arches. I also have obelisks. One thing that I didn't feature, but I also use, is orgonite elements, or orgon pyramids. That's the ones that you often see depicted as crystals embalmed in resin. Mm-hmm. You can make these by yourself, or basically something that is that has the attributes of prosperity, so maybe citron. But this is where you're going to create your own skyline. Like I said, the large inner city area, on a smaller scale. You're actually creating your own skyline personally, like your own inner city in your respective room that you choose, maybe your bedroom. And also, I think that's actually it. Like creating the vortex by saging and eliminating negative energy with incense, money, best. Oh, right, yourself. When you bring your pretty self.
You have to clean yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you take a bath. Make sure that you get yourself in the mindset, right?
What's your cleansing ritual?
My cleansing ritual. Okay, I'm going to tell y'all what I do in the morning. I wake up in the morning, I make sure I take 11 breaths. I go immediate to the bathroom, and I brush my teeth. Why? Because I don't want to have dragon breath all up in the spiritual, all up in God's face, all right? Now, I get inside the tub, right? And I do a shower of light, or I do a tub of light. So now the shower of light, I'm going to tell y'all exactly what I do. Because it is important to me to get in tune with time. While I'm taking my shower, I actually do about face, and I turn in the shower. I turn, and I just keep turning, and I just keep turning, and I just keep saying, I'm thank you, thank you, thank you. Like I'm saying it to each direction. I say it in the east, thank you. I say it while I'm in the water, while the water is hitting me. Oops, we don't have too much time here. While I'm in the water. When I get out, once I get out the shower, right, I like to, I do a mist of I mist myself with Florida water, and I use grapefruit, orange, lemon extract, and lemon what is it?
Is it the essential oil?
Yeah, all the essential oils. I put them all in a bottle with vitamin E oil and the Florida water, and I spray myself down, and then I dry off.
Like variables?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then when I get out,
and
I spray the area. I spray wherever I'm gonna pray with pure water, and with just Florida water and water. And what I do is I act as if I'm massaging my aura field. So I'll spray it around, right? And I make sure I turn around. And after I spray, now I'm massaging. And you know, I'm gonna do a video about that. You know, about how to actually fluff up your aura field and actually try to, and actually to reinforce it and stretch it out and stuff like that.
Oh, that's perfect.
So that's what I do.
So footnotes, obviously. You want to maintain a positive vibration. The one thing that's going to eliminate your money manifestations is negativity. And that's why the whole concept of cleansing is so critical and vital. But you never want to bring like negativity into these spaces. You never want to approach this money altar in the southeast corner of your room or the furthest left-hand corner of your room from your door. You really do not want to bring all that negative energy to it. So maintain a positive, frame of mind when you're in these particular locations or when you frequent these locations. Because even in general, it's difficult for me because I just have to deal with DC traffic, and I'm going to have to deal with it when I navigate home. However, I do know if you're very aware of it, you're going to be able to, deter yourself from like resorting back to these old behaviors. But when you're finished with your mantras, you don't want to go out into the world and let the world get to you. You need to like maintain that positive vibration. Because nothing deters money faster than negativity. I'm just saying, like, inner city areas, what are they the most, and I'm not targeting the inner city areas, there's plenty of rural areas that have negative energy associated with them.
Yeah,
I'm just
trailer
saying,
parks.
Yeah, right,
Exactly.
right.
So you're right, yeah.
So the thing about that is, negative energy is always pervasive. There's always that, negative connotation about it, and it just seems to be the like an overwhelmingly prominent feature of these areas is negative energy. They're bombarded with sirens, police raid, air raid sirens, ambulances. Nobody has time for that, honestly, and especially not you, because I understand that you're all trying to elevate yourself. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're trying to build an empire. We're trying to make the best of what we have. We're trying to make the best of what we have, and just to get the most out of what, out of it as well,
And also remember, you are the person that actually determines the vibration of your home. And another thing is, yes, not everyone's going to have that latitude to cleanse their whole entire home from top to bottom, especially if you have roommates, but you are in charge of your current space. All right.
All right, Kira, tell them how to reach you. How can they get in touch with you?
Well, this is going to be shared on my channel, Professor Agog. You can reach out to me. I am currently developing my other social media platforms. I'm creating a fan page. If you guys like me, I would love for you to subscribe and follow.
Make sure that you subscribe to this channel so that you can find out Professor Agog's information, okay? Can they email you? Do they have an email? Do you have an email or anything yet? She's just getting started, y'all. She just came into BCG a few months ago, so she's just her platforms. We're gonna set everything up.
I can be reached definitely through an email address for now. And we'll link everything below.
Okay, yeah. Well, so I'll make sure her information, her contact information is in this.
To be continued.
Okay. To be continued. We love you guys. Thank you so much.